No, that's fine.
Mr. Secretary, I'm looking at the graph Representative Grote showed you, and Representative Bradford earlier asked you those questions. And based upon those performances, you can see Governor Rendell's the one who cut roughly $510 million out of education in 2008, 2009, and Governor Rendell cut another $210 million out of state funding for education in 2010. So I think what I want to say as Education Chairman, and this whole thing that's been going on around the state about Governor Corbett cutting taxes or cutting education funding over those years is just an outright lie. But more importantly, we're still missing the point, and you and I have discussed this many times, education is about children. And we so often get wrapped up in these issues of dollars. And my colleague, and I appreciate from Montgomery County, but when I look at school districts like Lancaster County, York City, who have been underfunded by $40, $50 million a year, and I see the city of Philadelphia, which is only, based upon the agreement, bipartisan agreement, Democrats, Republicans alike, in the basic education funding formula, is only underfunded by 5%. Yet we gave Philadelphia $57 million to make them whole, basically, according to the underfunding level. Yet only in Reading, which is 95% underfunded, got barely anything, $2 million. Yet they were owed $95 million. York City, Lancaster City. Lancaster City is underfunded by $47 million. And they suffered because the governor allocated the dollars different than what this General Assembly wanted to. I keep finding the way we're doing education policy around here is not about accountability. It's about whose political game we're playing. Who are we contributing to campaigns to? Who are we looking for votes from? Rather than sitting down and dealing with children in Lancaster who deserve the same funding that the children of Philadelphia get, the same children in York and Montgomery County deserve the same funding. When they're underfunded, they deserve the same dollars. Why did the governor decide to make Philadelphia whole and leave Lancaster, York, Scranton, Reading, Harrisburg on the limb when they were far more underfunded than the city of Philadelphia, which was only 5% underfunded?
So the governor focused heavily on providing equity, and first I'll take a half a step back and share. So I understand the argument around the amount of funding provided education over the course of the past 5 years, I will say, for example, or previous year, 4 years before the final year. And I've engaged personally, locally, and now at the state level in conversation around the fact that the legislature, the General Assembly, has never voted on a reduction to education funding. I fully understand that argument, and I continue to share the reality of that argument when you take into account the structural deficit or the structural costs associated, as you should, with pensions and health care and all those.
But Mr. Saylor, let me stop you there because I know we want to be quick here. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about why did the governor decide to make Philly whole and leave Lancaster City, York City, Harrisburg City, Scranton, and others with huge holes that they deserved more than the city of Philadelphia? Why did he distribute money to Philadelphia unfairly at the price of the other city school districts? Do not third-class cities like Reading and York and Harrisburg and Lancaster, who have been way underfunded compared to the Philly school district. It's not an argument whether Philadelphia needs more money or any school district needs more money. It's about why did he choose to make whole Philadelphia and leave other poor children who are far poorer than the city of Philadelphia based upon the Basic Education Funding Commission's report. Again, bipartisan, Democrats and Republicans agreed to the report, agreed to the poverty levels and everything else. The cities I cited are far more poor, far more underfunded, and yet received no help from this governor when he finally decided to distribute those dollars. Why did he decide to do it that way?
So taking everything discussed, the governor allocated the funding with two considerations. One, of course, the work of moving forward around the work of the Basic Education Funding Commission, but also trying to make up for the reductions that were made to some of the poor school districts. So I know the governor had been very intentional and has shared a number of times that the need to establish a sound foundation, and I know I continue to say that, but it's the best way I can explain it. when you look at, the reductions of what ultimately ended up being reductions to the amount of spending going to classrooms, he's worked very hard within that 15, 16 year to make up for the disproportionate reductions that, he feels, the administration feels, that I feel were disproportionate, so we can move forward with the recommendation of the commission and fund accordingly.
Well, Mr. Secretary, I don't think that he did that. I think that he totally hurt children in Lancaster, York, and elsewhere by his decision. Rather than helping those who are in the most need, he chose to play a political game with the city of Philadelphia. And that is my opinion. And I don't think you're going to change the opinion of York and Lancaster residents and Scranton residents that he played a game in politics. And it's a shame, because this is about children, not about politics. Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Thank you.